Welcome back to the History Lab here with Mr. Urig. 8th graders, today we are starting a project called No Taxation Without Representation. So we've moved on to the Revolutionary era part of our class, talking about all the reasons that the colonists were disgruntled and were upset with the British Parliament and the British King, King George III. We are doing this project, we're working on this for 2 days. It has 2 parts. It is worth a 50-point test grade. Each part is worth 25 points. So on Google Classroom, you'll have these slides. It'll go over some directions for you and give you some examples. But you'll also find a handout that looks just like this. And this is what you should use to instruct you moving forward. So, directions. Use the Google slide template to complete this project. So, in Google Classroom, there's an assignment called Taxation Without Representation Project. Click on the title of the assignment. Underneath your work, there will be a document, a slide document with your name on it. Use that to complete this project. Your first slide should be your propaganda poster. That is worth 25 points. And your second slide should be your letter to King George III. So, on the propaganda poster, I want you to pick one of the acts that we've talked about already in class. There is a document on the assignment and the assignment from the day previous that looks like this. We've talked about all these different acts. The only one that's not on here that we have talked about is the Navigation Act, and you can certainly use that one as well. Let's see here. So, select an act or acts from the chart on Google Classroom from the perspective of a colonist. So pretend that you're a colonist living here in one of the 13 colonies, and you're going to create an anti-tax propaganda poster. It should take up the whole slide and be colorful. And number 4 here, you do not need. Let's take that off there. So the poster should have, or should be original and colorful, have your own words and phrases on them, and have visual aids, and have no spelling errors. Slides and Google Docs, they both have spell check, and it's free. So no excuse for not having all of the words properly spelled. So let's come back to the slides, and let me show you some examples of a propaganda poster. So, if you scroll through the slides here, you can see several examples of something that we might be looking for. Then the last 3, this yellow one here, taxes, it's not a theft if you have to fill out a form. And then the last 2 here, they are a little more they are a little closer as to what we're talking about taxes, and obviously they are against them here. So use these as some examples. You're creating one of these types of posters against one of the acts here on this chart. That's your first part. That's worth 25 points. Second part of the project is this letter to King George III. That is also worth 25 points. So, you are a colonist in Charleston, South Carolina. Write a letter to King George III explaining why you feel that the Stamp Act and other parliamentary acts are wrong, unfair, and should be repealed. This says revoked. Give at least 5 specific grievances. Grievances is a fancy word for complaints. So give 5 specific complaints to King George III about one of these acts or several of them. The act that you picked for your propaganda poster does not have to be the same act that you write about. They can be different. That's fine. Your letter should be in Panther essay format. This is what you work on with Mr. Reese. He tells me the 8th graders are very good at drafting these types of essays. So your letter should look like a Panther essay format essay that you work on with Mr. Reese. The only difference is it starts with Dear King George III and it ends with your name at the end. So make sure it's signed with your name at the end, and of course no spelling errors because spell check is free. So that is what we're working on for the next 2 days. If you have any questions, certainly email me. I am available from 2 to 3. If you need, if you have specific questions and you need to talk to me either through Google Meets or something, let me know. Email me before 2 o'clock to set that up. And that goes not only for the project, but for any day. I am available from 2 to 3. So, good luck. Get these turned in. This will probably be the last test grade before the end of the quarter, which is October 30th. So, let me know. Good night and good luck.